Okay, in order to do this worksheet, you're going to need a periodic table and a calculator. What you're going to have to do is, this is called dimensional analysis, and you can use your notes to do this. Up here, it also helps you, here's the chart. So if you're going from grams to moles, it says you divide by the molar mass. If you're going from moles to the number of atoms or molecules, you times by Avogadro's number, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So if you like this chart better, you can always write this chart down on your notes worksheet that you're going to be allowed to use. Okay? Let me work some of these worksheets after, and you can find some time to write it down on your note sheet. So number 1, how many moles in 28 grams of CO2? Really quick, I'm going to put this worksheet up. If anybody was absent yesterday, write this down. Just pause the video and write this down in your notes. Okay, so I just want to put it up for a quick second. Always on your left-hand side is the number you're given. You're just given one number in a problem. Your top right is whatever you're looking for. And the bottom, if you're not sure what to do, just match the units and go from here. I do want to write down that if it ever says grams, refer to your periodic table. If you're not sure what to do, if the problem says grams, you're going to use your periodic table. So we're only going to get better through practice. So let's start with number 1. You can always build your T-chart for all of these. Okay, how many moles in 28 grams of CO2? We were given 28 grams of CO2. And what do we want? Whatever we want usually comes after the word how many. Okay, so I highlighted what we're looking for. Whatever you're looking for goes in the top right box. This is grams of CO2. This has to say grams of CO2 as well. Where are we going to find the mass of CO2? Your periodic table. So carbon is 12.01. Oxygen times 2 is 16 times 2. So you just need to add those two together. 32 plus 1201. 44.01. And wherever it says moles, you just put the number 1. Okay, because this is top to bottom, do we multiply or divide? We are going to divide. Anything side by side gets multiplied. Anything that's on the bottom is going to be divided. If this was not 1, you'd have to do 28 times this number divided by the bottom. Okay? But when I say top to bottom, I just mean there's a real number on top and a real number on bottom. The 1 doesn't really matter. So I do 28 divided by 44.01. And this gives me, I'll put it right here, 0.636 moles of CO2. I highly recommend typing this in your calculator to make sure you get the same answer as me. So then on the exam or on the quiz, you're already like well practiced, you feel comfortable doing it on your own. Because if you just copy down exactly what I'm copying down, as soon as I stop giving you all the answers, you can get nervous, not really sure of what you're doing. So if you follow along as I'm doing it, you'll get more comfortable. You can also ask questions if you need help. Did anybody not get that answer? Anybody need extra help? So let me check what mode I was in. So I was in this mode called flow. Okay, and you just hit second, then that button DRG. Okay, and there's the flow mode and then scientific mode. If your calculator was in scientific mode, you would have gotten 6.36 times 10 to the negative 0.1. Both of those answers are right. It really just depends what mode you're in. Okay. So if you're taking a multiple choice exam and you don't see your answer there, go to the mode of the calculator, and maybe you're in scientific mode and you need to be in the other mode. So if you need to switch modes again, all you do is you hit this second button and DRG. You can move it with these arrows, just go to whatever you need, hit enter. Second, DRG. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. If you guys already know what to do, you can get started because I am taking this up for a grade. So if you still need guided practice, follow along with me, but if you've got this, you can get started. How many moles of 5 grams of Fe2O3? I start off with 5. Grams of Fe2O3. I want moles. It says how many moles. I put moles on this side because that's what I'm looking for. Anytime there's moles, you just write the number 1. Because this is grams of Fe2O3, this has to be grams of Fe2O3. So in order to find grams, I have to refer to my periodic table because what they're asking for is mass. So iron weighs 55.8. Times 2. And then oxygen weighs 16 times 3. Gives me 48. I need to add these two to get a total mass of that entire compound, Fe2O3. On the periodic table. This right here for oxygen, 15.99. And then iron's over here, 58.8. I'm going to add them together. And that gives me 159.6. Would I multiply or divide? I'm going to divide 5 divided by 159.6. 0.031 is what I got. Moles of Fe2O3. If you were in a different mode, scientific mode, you probably got an exponent, so I'll just show you what that would look like. Second DRG, scientific mode, 3.13 times 10 to the negative 2. And that would be correct as well. That can also be written 3.13. Both of those are correct. Any questions so far? I'll go ahead and do one more with you. You have a question? The flow and the psi mode thing? You hit the second button, that blue button, and then the button right next to it says DRG. Move. So you hit these arrows to whatever you want, and then there's an enter button right there. The equal sign is enter. So just select. Did that help you? Okay. Number 3, find the moles of argon. I was given 452 grams of argon. I want moles. The mass of argon is 39.9. Do I multiply or divide? I'm going to divide 452. I put 452 first in my calculator. I divide it by 39.9. So there's your 3 possible answers. There's 1. Is anybody getting different answers or confused on what to do? Okay, so you can work with the person you're sitting next to and get this worksheet done. Let me actually, as I'm looking at numbers 6, 7, and 8, let me go to number 7. Only because it looks like now they want number of atoms. Number 7 says, calculate the number of atoms in 0.750 moles of Fe. In that problem, does it say anything about grams? So we will not be using the periodic table for those. For those, we use this chart you guys wrote yesterday. The divide or multiply by Avogadro's number, okay, 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So number 7 says calculate the number of atoms, and they gave us moles. So this says if you start with moles and you want atoms, you multiply by 6.02. So it tells us what to do. We're going to multiply. To set it up properly, 0.750 mole of Fe. So that means 1 mole goes here, and Avogadro's number goes at the top. So we just multiply these two. So this would be a good practice problem because it has the exponent in it for you guys to see if you know how to use this type of calculator. So you type in the calculator. I'm going to put it under. Okay. 0.750 times, I'll put it in parentheses, times 6.02. To get that times 10 button, you just go ahead and hit the second button and the button above number 7. The button above the number 7 gives you the capital E, and then you just write 23. Close my parentheses and hit enter. So 4.5 times 10 to the 23. And that was atoms. We'll finish this worksheet tomorrow.